The aircraft is nosediving into the Indian Ocean. With more than 200 passengers on board, the Boeing 777-200ER is facing crisis. With a few seconds before the plane crashing into the Indian Ocean, passengers pray on board for their kids and loved ones to survive the horrifying crash. No one on board knows that this is going to be the most mysterious crash in aviation history. Their lives are in the hands of two pilots commanding the flight. At 8:25, the plane mysteriously disappears into the Indian Ocean. As some of you might know, Malaysian Airlines is a Malaysian-based airline. It was a good airline with good service. The airline is rated 3.5 stars on Skytrack.com. Not bad, they were improving. But sadly, after MH370, the airline had some problems. Let's look into that at the end of the video. Malaysian Airlines is an old airline which was founded in 1930s in Singapore. The first commercial flight for Malaysian Airlines was in 1947. So Kuala Lumpur is a huge airport in Malaysia. The airline has more than 61 international and domestic destinations from Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur Airport is a busy and a big airport in Malaysia. Malaysian Airlines' biggest hub, or also known as the home base, was at Kuala Lumpur. From this airport, Malaysian Airlines operated 22 popular destinations. Malaysian Airlines has a number of fleets in their industry. For long-haul flights, the airline uses their Airbus A380, which is the largest airplane in the world, passenger jet in the world, their Boeing 747, and the Boeing 777-200ER. For short-haul flights, Malaysian Airlines uses their Airbus A330 and their Boeing 737. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 involved a Boeing 777-200ER, the one that is circled in red. Malaysian Airlines have a total of 78 fleets in total. The Boeing 777-200ER is a reliable aircraft, so this made Boeing and the investigators suspicious on the pilots. So Flight MH370 was a scheduled flight from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, Malaysia, to Beijing Capital International Airport in China during March 8, 2014. The duration of the flight was around 5 hours. Now let's look into the aircraft MH370. As you all might know now, MH370 was operated by a Boeing 777-200ER. The aircraft was 11 years and 8 months old. Its first flight was on May 14, 2002. Now let's look into what actually happened to Malaysian Airlines by using my flight simulator. I really wanted to use the one on my computer but had some difficulties recording. The problem in this simulator is that it is a little unrealistic. Anyway, let's look into the flight plan for MH370. So the flight time was around 5 hours. With 227 passengers and 12 crew members, is a total of 239 souls on board MH370. In command was Captain Zahari, who was 53 years old. He has a total of 18,300 hours of flight time. In the right seat was Captain Farid K. He is 27 years old with 2,763 hours of flight time. He was becoming a co-pilot after this flight. He was still considered as a trainee. MH370 departed from the gate at 12:35 at Kuala Lumpur. Everything was for normal right now. The aircraft now taxis to runway 32 right at Kuala Lumpur. No one on board knows the dramatic incident about to happen in their flight to Beijing. And just letting you guys know, everything is happening in midnight. I just added the sun in there so that we could see what actually is happening. It might be too dark if it is night. So Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 took off for the last time at Kuala Lumpur around 12:39 a.m. The flight was then directed to contact Lumpur radar. With 239 passengers on board, Flight MH370 departs from Kuala Lumpur. This is a picture of the circumference of the Lumpur radar. At 12:46, the flight was climbing to 35,000 feet. Soon after a few minutes, MH370 is requested to contact Ho Chi Minh Area Control Center. A minute before contacting Ho Chi Minh Area Control Center, the plane disappears from the radar. The plane is now identified as missing. As mentioned earlier, MH370's mode S symbol has disappeared from Lumpur radar screens. A few minutes later, it also disappears from Ho Chi Minh radar too. This starts confusing the ATC, also known as the air traffic controllers. The transponder in the aircraft had stopped working. No civilian ATC has control of MH370. Now the military is informed to track down the aircraft in that region, which was successful. The problem was that nobody from MH370 was responding back to the military. With the military tracking MH370, they found out that the Boeing 777-200ER had made a sharp right turn. At this point, many aviation experts say that the pilots were trying to come back to Malaysia due to a mechanical failure. A few minutes later, the Boeing 777-200ER makes a left U-turn, turning towards southwest of Malaysia. There was many attempts to track down MH370 because it was flying in an active airspace. This means that there were other airplanes flying in that area. Another aircraft was trying to contact Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, not far away, by using international distress frequency. They were successfully able to contact MH370, but there was a problem. Only mumbling and static could be heard from MH370. Soon the aircraft that was in contact with MH370 was disconnected due to poor frequency internet. Now the military gets into action. The military radar detects that MH370 is flying at 37,000 feet. The aircraft continues flying over the Malay Peninsula. Now the aircraft is flying between 31,000 feet and 33,000 feet. This was really dangerous because there would have been a mid-air collision. There were about 100 aircrafts flying in that area between 31,000 feet and 33,000 feet. This could result in a loss of more than 1,000 people. Sultan Ismail Airport, a small airport in Malaysia, detected that an unidentified airport in its radar. Many believe that it was MH370. This was between 1:30 a.m. to 1:52 a.m. One of the last known communication of the MH370 was flying south of Penang Island. From there, the aircraft makes a right turn towards northwest. The last known location was 438 kilometers northwest of Penang Airport at 29,500 feet. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 disappears into the Indian Ocean. Around an estimated time of 8:19, the Boeing 777-200ER ran out of fuel. Both engines were flamed out, leaving the plane flying with no engines. The aircraft now begins a nosedive into the Indian Ocean. Flight MH370 crashes into the Indian Ocean, killing all 239 passengers from the impact. There were many theories of what may have happened to MH370, but one of them includes pilot suicide. Mysteriously, the captain had flown the flight path of MH370 on his home flight simulator, crashing the plane into the Indian Ocean. Another option is that there was a mechanical failure. It turns out that the co-pilot's phone was switched on. This was suspicious because pilots are not supposed to have their cell phones on during the flight. We know that the phone was turned on because the Penang tower caught the co-pilot's phone signal, which means that he was trying to contact someone. This means that the plane was also flying at a low altitude of 20,000 feet in order to get signal from the phone tower. The pilot suicide option is really low though, because the pilots had no suspicious behavior before the flight. Many people believe that there was a mechanical failure in the Boeing 777-200ER which made the plane crash. After a few days from the crash, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370's debris were washed onto the shore. Small pieces of the aircraft were found floating around the island of Madagascar. The problem was that the pieces were too small and little in order to find the problem of MH370. Malaysian Airlines 370 had many effects on the world and the airline itself. The Malaysian Airlines started to lose a lot of money due to what happened to MH370. Many passengers stopped flying Malaysian Airlines. They were really scared that they might lose their lives. Malaysian Airlines lost even more money when another one of their aircraft was shot down at Russia, killing more than 200 people. The search for Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 stopped at January 17, 2017. This was the most expensive aviation search in aviation history. If we just find the black box, also known as the cockpit voice recorder, we might find everything that happened on the aircraft. Still, MH370 has never been found. Do you think air travel is safe or not? Will we ever know what actually happened to MH370?